Welcome back to episode 5 of Generations Behind. 555. We made it. This is 10 weeks ago we started this podcast, and we're still committing somehow. Unlike most people when they start a podcast, we didn't give up right away because it's so hard to schedule things sometimes. I don't think we've ever recorded on the same day since we started, but I think we're doing good. To my side, as always, Mr. Zach Daily Beating. Zach, how are you today?
We're doing great. I'm thinking I'll give it at least 12 weeks for this thing. At least 12 weeks.
And then you're calling it quits.
No, we'll see. Just at least 12.
At least. And below us, we have Mr. Tyler Haight. Tyler, how are you?
Doing great. Zach, I don't know how you're going to do 12. I think it's going to be my last one.
It's like, I don't really like you guys.
Yeah, you guys are okay, but... Nah, who am I playing? We're going to 100, baby. 100. But I'm doing great. Just got back from the beach. A little red, as you can see. And
got that tan.
For all you wrestling fans, you better acknowledge me.
There it is.
Moving on. I had someone at the beach acknowledge me.
Tyler, we have a write-in specifically for you today from somebody originally anonymous. I guess somebody fixed our little Word doc here, but they said, this is from Hector. It says, why is Tyler so luscious? Tell us how you do it.
It's all about the routine. You gotta have a pretty solid routine. It all starts from waking up in the morning. You gotta have a little drinky drink. It varies on the day. Right now, it's a Mountain Dew Amp. It's not usually my drink of choice, but today that's what it is because I'm feeling a little tired. So, you're doing that. You gotta have the hair product. The hair products, I switch it every now and then. Right now, Dove Men Care Plus. The cool menthol one. Gotta go with the cool menthol.
I like to imagine almost nobody probably even realizes you have long hair because usually the way it sits, you can't see it in these videos. So somebody probably just had a big revelation right now. Look at that, those luxurious golden locks.
Yeah.
And I just revealed to you I also had a rat, like this long rat tail.
You got like the Anakin from episode 2 rat tail. Beautiful.
Yeah. So it's all about the Dove and gaming. You gotta be able to have the gaming in your life.
Yeah, you have to be able to sit down and do
you gotta be able to
do nothing
sit down
but play video games for
on the
13
weekends.
hours
You gotta
a day.
stay up and play Stellar Blade till 6 a.m. because that's what luscious people do.
Of course.
But those are all the tips I will give you today.
Yeah, so if you all want to be as beautiful and luscious as Tyler, Dove Men Care, Mountain Dew Amped, and lots of Stellar Blade.
General degeneracy.
And you get a t-shirt
it's
made
like,
of that.
Yeah, exactly. It's awesome. All right, well, today, everybody, we're going to be talking about our earliest gaming memories. So we're going to get a little personal here, tell you a little bit about our personal history with video games, certain things that got us to love the genre as we do today, which is going to be fun and exciting. We got some write-ins, which is, of course, always very exciting to hear from you guys. Thank you to everybody who wrote in. As a reminder, next episode in 2 weeks from when we're posting this, Ocarina of Time episode. So if you have any good things or bad things to say about Ocarina of Time, please be sure to write in with your thoughts on that as well. A link for that's going to be in the description below. And I guess we can go ahead and go right into, speaking of Ocarina of Time, what we've been playing. We've all been playing Ocarina of Time, so I don't want us to go, super deep into our thoughts with it since we're going to have a whole episode dedicated on it. But I guess we could say, how much we've played with it so far leading into it, and maybe just some general thoughts. I'll go first just because I'm already talking. I went ahead and I beat it already. I played it on the Switch. I didn't know this. When you look at the details for games on the Switch Online, it actually tells you how long you've been playing the games, which is cool. I didn't know it had it for the individual games. It says it took me about 15 and a half hours, so not too shabby. I didn't 100% everything because it's not worth 100%ing everything in Ocarina of Time. You don't really get anything worthwhile for it. But I did beat it again. Probably like the 11th or 12th time I've beaten this game in my life. But hadn't played it all the way through on the N64 version in at least a decade. So it was fun to go through that again, and I'm excited to give my thoughts next week. Zach, how you doing in Ocarina so far?
I am in the middle of the third dungeon, so making decent progress. I was wanting to get through at least like get the Master Sword this weekend, but I didn't
Hmm.
quite accomplish that yet. But I'm feeling
You're
good
almost
about being able
there.
to finish it the next 2 weeks. Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
You're almost there.
yep.
Tyler, first time playing. How you feeling?
I mean, first time playing, I'm enjoying it. Right now, I'm kind of starting to feel like, see, got my words tied up a little bit. Starting to feel a little bit like this is Majora's Mask because I'm running on a little time constraint right now. All right, but I was sick and then I had vacation. But like I said, the luscious one stays up till 6 a.m. playing video games. So now I just got to prioritize Ocarina of Time. Probably won't beat it in 15 hours like Craig. Probably a little longer than that because I don't know what I'm
I
doing.
imagine so.
But
15's a pretty brisk pace.
yeah,
Yeah,
Craig could probably beat the 3DS one before we beat it.
I
Like.
probably could.
But
I'm telling you, this game, it's like second nature to me. I don't need a guide for anything. I walk into a dungeon, I know exactly where to go. It's like I know where every key is. Everything is just it's like ingrained into my memory. Much more so than anything useful I could know that deeply and intimately instead. So
yeah, but I'm enjoying it. Looking forward to giving my full thoughts. For me, 2 weeks.
yeah, you're the only one of us playing on original hardware too, which is kudos to you for being the real gamer out of all of us.
Yeah,
Capital G gamer.
Capital G.
gotta be luscious.
And let's see. So why don't you go ahead and tell us what else you've been playing, Tyler, besides Ocarina?
Me, besides Ocarina, been playing only two other games. Stellar Blade, having a good time with that. Probably about maybe quarter, third of the way, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then while I was on vacation at the beach, I decided I would bring whip it out this guy because I wanted to test it out.
Oh,
Look at Craig in there and Zach. But
Hello.
wanted to test it out and see how it worked on hotel Wi-Fi, connecting to my PlayStation, and honestly, it ran pretty well.
Oh,
I tried
surprisingly.
out SpongeBob the Cosmic Shake because now it's free on Plus and I don't have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and honestly, really liking the Cosmic Shake, and was honestly pretty impressed with that. I feel like it's mainly because I have a hardwired connection on my PS5
Yeah,
mm.
because I heard that's a big
that's
thing.
what I hear. Is everyone's like, as long as
Mm.
your PS5 is hardwired, it should be good. Anyone that doesn't hardwire the PS5 seems to be the people having issues.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, pretty enjoyed. Well, pretty. I don't know what I'm saying, but I enjoyed it. What? What's up?
Tyler, do you ever get any like? I also have a PS Portal and like it works pretty good most of the time, but I get these random like it won't connect to the PlayStation, even though like it says it's there, it says it's on, and it just like won't connect to it. I have to just like turn it off and back on again, then like reboot it. Has that ever happened to you?
It happened to me like twice,
Yeah,
once or twice, I would say. But
maybe
other
need
than
to
that,
update it. I'm not sure.
pretty fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I was very close to getting a portal, but I can't hardwire my PS5 without having an Ethernet cable going across like the hallways between rooms, and I'm just like that's obnoxious, so I'd rather not even bother. And
yeah,
honestly, when I really want to do remote play, I have a backbone for my iPhone, and it works
Yep.
perfectly fine. So
I
it's
heard the
like,
backbone's good.
yeah, it's excellent. I love it. I use it to just play a lot of random things on there, like different like Apple Arcade and different things like that. So Backbone's, if you could get one for cheap, it's a pretty good investment for especially now on iPhone you could get the Delta emulator we've talked about on this show and different things. So very good for all that kind of stuff. So shout out to
Nice.
that. But cool, glad you're liking your Portal. Glad that it seems to work
yeah.
pretty well even from far away. So that's good to hear. Zach, what else have you been playing?
Um, a few things. So Ocarina, I've played maybe 5 hours or so. I'm not 100% sure how long it's been. I've been dabbling a little bit in Elden Ring, getting ready for the DLC in a few weeks. I finally finished another Crab's Treasure. Great
Mm-hmm.
game. Recommend it if you like little lighthearted Dark Soulsy kind of game. But the main game I've been playing on my Switch is actually a game called Master Key.
Master
This
Key.
is a like an indie top-down 2D Zelda-like. Those games, I feel like there's always like a bunch of those coming out, and I always like to play them, even though um, even if they all have like similar ideas and they're might be derivative of just regular 2D Zelda games, I still like playing them.
Mm-hmm.
This one's interesting because they call it a 1-bit game.
Mm.
It's there's only ever two colors on screen at once, so the base is just
Okay.
black and white. Um, so it's got like a pretty striking look to it. You can cycle through different options for the colors. So like it doesn't have to be just black and white. It can be blue and black, red and black, green and yellow, whatever. Um, but it's a fun game. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Minish Cap. If y'all have played Minish Cap, the game really leans into like the Metroidvania-y side of it, where like getting an item, you can basically go back across the whole map and find different chests and like hidden secrets. Like Zelda does it too, but specifically Minish Cap reminds me of Metroid, of like going back and re-exploring areas with new upgrades, and that's what this Master Key game is doing. I'm getting a lot of Minish Cap vibes from it, but it's a fun game,
Interesting.
fun bosses, got dungeons, the whole gambit. It's a Zelda like, but
Cool.
yep.
Interesting. I haven't.
Very
I
nice,
I
very nice.
feel like you've briefly mentioned that one, but I haven't listened to or I haven't looked it up yet. So I definitely want to check that out. I always
Yep.
think about trying to delve into the more like indie, like Zelda inspired games, but every time I've tried in the past, it just makes me want to play Zelda.
Yeah,
and
that's the
and
thing.
and
It's like
part of
this.
me feels guilty for that because I'm like, I'm sure that there's great stuff in that kind of like indie realm, but it's one of those things where for some reason, just specifically that like that 2D Zelda vibe, I just feel like I haven't played an indie game that's nailed it like it's inspired by quite yet. So
Exactly. Like and like yeah, and like all these games, like none of them quite feel like Link to the Past or Link Between Worlds or anything like that. But
mhm.
I do like playing these indie games. I like supporting indie games in general. And I don't know these games that like are take such strong inspiration from games I like. I almost feel like I'm having a conversation with the developer. Like they're putting in like references to these games that we both like, and I'm like
Mhm.
experiencing it through their lens.
Mm.
I enjoy it, but
That's cool.
yeah,
The most Zelda like game indie game that I've played that I enjoyed the most, I wonder if you've played it. Have you heard of Reverie before?
Reverie.
The
That
art
name.
style looks very like Mother Earth boundish, but it plays a lot like a 2D Zelda game and it's very,
It
very
sounds
good.
familiar. I think I know what you're talking about.
Hmm.
I guess I haven't played it, but the word reverie, I'm definitely thinking of. Is there another game that came out recently with the word reverie in it? It's like clouding my brain. I feel like
I don't
there's
know.
a
Sounds like a JRPG like subtitle.
exactly.
So,
Yeah. Hmm. But no,
but
I've
yeah,
not heard of that
Reverie.
one.
Reverie is another 2D style Zelda game. Very, very good. Would definitely recommend. Came out a few years ago. I think it was originally a Vita exclusive,
Hmm.
or at least it was on the Vita as an original launch, and then they put it on Switch, and now there's a PS5 version and different things. So very accessible game. You could beat it in one sitting. It's like maybe 2 to 3 hours, but very good, very fun, easy platinum trophy if you're into
Seen
that
it.
kind of thing. So
Nice.
definitely check out Reverie. Zach and Tyler, you'd probably like it too, and everyone listening. We all, if you listen to the show, you probably like Zelda,
Real
and if you
quick.
don't, what's wrong with you?
Speaking
Sure.
of Zelda, by the
Yeah.
next episode, do we think we're gonna have the Twilight Princess and the Wind Waker HD announcements?
No,
The direct's probably gonna happen by then.
that's true, but just have no faith. So
If it
No?
doesn't happen now, it won't happen. That's like I
Okay.
don't know. There's no other time it can
yeah.
happen is than now. But
I mean, there's nothing I want more than my favorite Zelda game to be brought up to speed, so I don't have to turn on my disgusting Wii U to play it. But because I love Wind Waker so much, and
yep.
the few problems that it did have, the Wii U version fixed. So I would love for that
Yeah.
to get brought up to speed.
It's a shame that game's only been on like the two worst selling Nintendo
I know.
consoles, the Wii U and the GameCube. It deserves a good that good Switch audience.
I know,
But
because I feel like it's a Zelda game that a lot of people didn't play. Because even you think about Twilight Princess, that was on the Wii, and everybody owned a Wii. So
yep,
it's like that was definitely played by way more people, and it
yep.
didn't get shit on because it didn't look like a kiddie game like
I think
Wind
Twilight
Waker did.
Princess was
So
the like best selling Zelda up until Breath of the Wild.
really
Like
interesting.
mainline Zelda, yeah.
I could believe that honestly. It's
Yep.
definitely not my favorite Zelda, but I do like it quite a lot. It's grown on me over the years. I used to be pretty sour on it, but I've learned to appreciate a lot more of the funkier aspects of it as time has gone on. Still don't like a lot of the wolf stuff, but
Yeah.
I'm sure one day we'll do a Twilight Princess episode, so
Yeah.
we'll
I'll
get
replay
there.
it.
Yeah, why not? It's been a long time since I played through it. I never finished the Wii U HD remaster, so it'd be fun to go through and finish that version of it. And I never beat it on GameCube either. I played it on the Wii and the Wii only. So,
Hmm.
Ah.
I love
so
it.
every time I was
Oh,
gonna say the reverse. I know that's what you're about to say.
so
Is the
funny. It's
the
so
how the
funny how
whole
this
thing
do
is
it.
mirrored. Because I
Yeah.
remember when I was younger, I had a friend who had it on GameCube. I went up to the house and I was like, "Why does this look so weird?" And it like took
Yeah.
me a while to figure out. I was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Hyrule Castle should be over there, but it's over there."
It's such a funny solution that they did that because like they committed to okay, you guys kids people are gonna swing right-handed, so they're gonna make the flip again. Why not just make the GameCube version like that? Like
I
I
know
get
it's
Link's
so
normally
weird.
left-handed. Link's normally left-handed. I get it, but like maybe it wasn't originally intended for the Wii. I don't know. Maybe they already are too deep into it. I couldn't tell you, but
Yeah, it's very
funny solution.
strange, very 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 funny. I think about that all the time. Honestly, it's so
Yeah.
bizarre.
There's
But
got to
They're
be
gonna do that
one
with
thing in
yes.
there that they like forgot to fix, and it just looks backwards. There's got to be one thing that they forgot to like comb over.
Oh my
they're gonna
god,
do that with the Switch 2 and Metroid Prime 4. These
Yeah,
will be reversed.
yeah.
that'd be fun. All right. So speaking of Zelda, I have been playing Majora's Mask now that I finished Ocarina of Time because I just gotta. It's been a long time since I played those games, and both of them since I played the N64 versions. So with the convenience of Nintendo Switch Online and 64, been going through those, having a fantastic time. Wind Waker, or not Wind Waker, Majora's Mask is really funny playing those games back to back because people always joke about how dark and depressing and drear Majora's Mask is, and it is in a way. I mean, it's funny because I don't think you realize how different the vibes are between those two games unless you play them back to back. Because the sense of dread is definitely there, which is funny because it's all the same, a lot of the same assets and character models as all these characters in Ocarina of Time. And in Majora's Mask, they're all just very depressed and they're all going through it. And it's just like, man, we were just having a really fun time not too long ago, and now
Yeah,
y'all need some Lexapro subscribed or something because things
yeah.
are starting to look too hot. But I'm having a good time with it. Majora's Mask, I definitely am as not familiar as I am in Ocarina. I've played through it multiple times, but something about the way that Majora Mask is structured, I've just never been able to memorize like the weird sequences of like the things you have to do in the overworld to get to the dungeons. And the map layout's a little bit funky. And I'm sure a lot of that's because of its short development time, but still an excellent game. I think I'm gonna see it through to the end just because I know it's not that long. Unless you try to 100% it, which I wouldn't do. I would definitely get all the masks because I feel like Majora's Mask um, it doesn't feel like you really beat it unless you get Fierce Deity at the end. Then it feels like
Yeah,
everything finally came together.
it's the true
Um,
ending.
yes, but it is kind of sad because when you get the Fierce Deity mask, the game's so easy. The final boss is like Majora's nothing if you have Fierce Deity masks. So,
Yep.
but yeah, so I've been playing that, having a good time. Other than that, I'm gonna show what is technically would be usually in the pickup section, but because I have to talk about it now, I got me a Steam Deck.
Da,
I
da,
have it
da,
in the
da.
case. Y'all probably know what a Steam Deck looks like, so I don't think I need to take it out of the case. But I've been having a great time with that. I mostly wanted it, honestly, just for emulation. And I finally was able to get one for a very good price. So I went ahead and treated myself a little bit. Got a bunch of
Treat
GameCube
yourself.
games loaded up on there, so that's exciting. Because I've always just wanted to be able to play my GameCube library portably, and now I'm able to do that fairly easy, which is good. And I've also just been playing a bunch of random other stuff on there, testing out a bunch of things. Like last night, I was playing some Halo Combat Evolved on the Master Chief Collection, which, of course, who doesn't love Halo? Halo's always a really good time. I just forget how good that first level of Halo is when all the action starts happening and and all the drums
Yeah.
start kicking in. It's so hype. I can't get over it. It's so good. And I'm probably going to play that all the way through now just because I have not played through Halo in such a long time since I was probably like in grade school was the last time I played any of the Halo campaigns. So I think it'd be fun to play through 1 through 3 now that I have them. And I could just be laying in bed and doing a mission or two at night. Seems like a good way to wind down the day because Halo just feels so good and feels so fun. But as I was playing it, I had the thought, and I wanted to bring it up with you guys because I think it's so strange how different the remastered graphics are from the original. Have you guys played the anniversary edition of Halo 1?
I've played it, but I don't. I can't recall the difference honestly. I've played it a couple
Yeah.
years ago. I
Because
remember
it
you can
has this
toggle through,
thing,
can't you?
yeah, that I love. I wish every remaster had it where you could just hit a button and it goes to the original graphics. I think that is so
Mhm.
cool. But it is insane how different they look, but like in kind of a bad way. Like I feel like
Mm,
the entire vibe is lost. A lot of the character models look totally different. They don't even look like the same people. Like it
yeah,
doesn't look like they've just prettied up. It looks like totally different. All of the hallways and doors is like I get they wanted to add more detail because now they had the technology for it, but I feel like the entire vibe and look of it is just so different. But in like such a drastic way that it doesn't you I feel like if you showed somebody side by side, the same room of this game and the remaster and the original, if they hadn't played them before, you probably wouldn't be able to even tell that that's what it's supposed to be. And that's
yeah,
kind of strange to me. And it got me thinking about, I think about a lot of like PS2 games, like Persona 4 Golden, how different those games look aesthetically with the different lighting and fog effects, or Final Fantasy X, how different the models for the characters look between the remaster and the original, and like the loss of expression between them. And it's strange because it just makes me wish that a lot of remasters had this option for original graphics, because I feel like a lot of things get lost in translation, not with ill intent, but with the idea of kind of losing the original vision without
yeah,
realizing it. I don't know how you guys
yeah.
feel about this. I just kind of wanted to bring it up because I was curious what you guys thought about it. Because now I think about it, and it's like even with Wind Waker, love Wind Waker. I think the original looks great. I think the remaster on Wii U looks great. But that bloom effect really changes, the lighting of the entire game and the way a lot of different things look.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I thought it was an interesting talking point. I was curious what you guys thought about the 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 tone and vibe differences remasters give sometimes.
For sure. And like you kind of like you talk about the tone, the vibe. A lot of those old games, they were building with the limitations and the tools they had, and you can't quite make that same shape with the new tools and make it. It's gonna feel weird sometimes.
Hmm.
I just think you said that every game should have like a graphics option. Every remake remaster should just come with the original bundled in. You should just be able to
That
like
too. Either
have the
one.
game in there.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
because it's
either
like,
would be a good option.
yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I get
mean,
you saying.
yeah, you guys pretty much hit the nail on the coffin. Like,
Hmm.
I wish there was that option to where you can like select both. Like, preferably, I would like to play like My Last of Us remastered with like the PS3 graphics, not the PS5 graphics. No, okay, all
Oh, the
jokes
PS4
aside.
graphics, the PS3
Yeah,
graphics, the
well,
PS5
yeah, we should have a
graphics.
toggle for all three. But
It just looks
no,
the same.
it's like that little eye, meme going around.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
no, all jokes aside, sometimes it's better. Sometimes I wish it would have the original because the original's sometimes better. But a toggle would always be like nice to have, especially when they had that sometimes for the soundtrack too. I always
Hmm.
Thousand Year
enjoyed
Door
that.
has that. It has the you can switch between original soundtrack or the new soundtrack.
Oh,
Um, and some of
I
them are
gotta look that
actually
up.
like more different than I realize. Like when I'm listening to it, um, I just like assume it sounded like that, and then there's actually some pretty big differences in some of the songs.
Interesting.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I love the music in Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, and that's one where I would say the visuals. I think they did a great job translating, because really I think they just fixed the lighting to make things look more
yep.
dynamic. So that's an example I think of visuals being done right in a remaster. Another one I was thinking about. I thought about you, Tyler, actually, because I was wondering how you feel about the Crash games and how different that they look artistically from the original.
That's one I kind of honestly like.
Hmm.
Like, I really like the remastered ones. I mean, the originals are great. You can't, I would say can't beat the originals, but I kind of prefer the insane ones.
Hmm.
And then it was kind of weird how they didn't take the insane models and then kind of just put that on Crash 4. Like, they kind of did a whole nother redesign,
Hmm.
which was
Yeah,
kind of interesting. But, yeah, I mean, I kind of wish they would have stuck with the original entropy design because, big entropy stand here. But,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I really like the Insane Trilogy ones. I
Yeah,
feel like
and
those.
maybe it's just old man yelling at cloud situation for me here, but like even thinking
I
about
mean,
PS1, like I was thinking about the Spyro Reignited trilogy, gorgeous games, they look beautiful, but there's something about the vibe of the PS1 graphics that are just so much more dreamscapey. It's like the feeling, even though it still looks great, feels great, it doesn't feel like. I guess I don't know. I wish there was a way to have that feeling recreated along with it, and maybe that's just a mental thing for me. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, example of I agree with you. Not all remasters are, there are examples of bad, like, art changes in my opinion.
Hmm.
The one that sticks out to me is a Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon on the DS. So the
Yes, that
first
game's
Fire
ugly
Emblem,
as
it's like,
shit.
yeah, the first game is like it's an NES game, but it's got good pixel artwork, and then the
Hmm.
DS one's just so muddy and like,
Yeah, I hate the way
um,
that game looks.
ah, it doesn't. It's not great.
It's
It makes me
ugly.
almost like not want to go back and replay it because I
Hmm.
like the game. The game's a solid game, but it's
Hmm.
so muddy and I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know. It seems like most of the time, actual a big thing, at least for GameCube, PS2, Xbox generation. It seems like it's mostly a lighting thing. That the
Yeah.
the lighting gets changed a lot, but I don't know. Just wanted to bring it up, see what you guys think. I appreciate you guys entertaining my old man yelling at cloud thoughts here for a minute.
It's
New
all good.
segment.
That's what we're
Yes,
Tyler's
here
got the
for.
New-
history. You've got the old man yelling at cloud segment.
yes. Why aren't things as cool as they used to be?
Video games shouldn't be $70.
Back in my day.
For what it's worth, I'm okay with $70 games sometimes,
Yeah,
but that's
I am
another
too. I am too.
conversation for
Yeah,
another day.
that was just the first thing that came to my head.
That's true. A lot of people bitch about that. But something not to bitch about is recent game collection pickups. Fellas, got anything new you want to show? Anything cool and exciting? Zach, you look like
I
you're
have one
ready.
item.
What
One
you got?
item. Just this. So,
Oh, there
yeah,
it is.
Ocarina of Time 3D. I originally played Ocarina of Time on the
There you
GameCube
go.
Master Quest version. Um,
Beautiful.
this is the only version of Ocarina of Time I've ever actually beaten. Is the
Oh,
GameCube
okay.
version.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've played the N64 one, but I've never beaten it.
Hmm.
So I'm playing through the 3D version now. I didn't have a 3DS. I had a 2DS. So I'm trying to like go back and experience a bunch of games in 3D. So that's fun. This looks really neat to me. It's like a whole new thing. I missed the whole wave of 3D games. So I'm like, wow, this 3DS is really cool. Like, we haven't had a
You're
good
like, they
time
should
with
have
it.
done this a long time ago.
Yeah, that's a long time exactly. There was a save on here. I was really interested to see what the save
Oh,
was going to be because I got this off of eBay, and there was a save from 2011, which is when the game came out.
wow.
But they had just beat the Deku Tree and stopped,
Oh,
and that was kind of
Wow.
sad. But yeah, that's cool. I
I
didn't
love.
delete it though. They will live in that third slot. I copied them to the third slot. They'll live there in
There
the
you
third
go.
slot forever.
I love
But
when you get games with old save files. I always think that's so fun.
yep.
I will say, always disappointed that the Majora's Mask 3D remake doesn't have matching artwork with Ocarina. I always thought that was a strange choice. Because the Ocarina one looks beautiful with that gold and just the logo, and then
Hmm.
Majora's Mask they decided to do like a whole like art piece with all the characters. And
Yeah.
it looks great, but it's just weird
Yeah.
because it's like the N64 games parody each other in a
Yep.
way with like just the logo and background. So I always thought that was a strange choice.
Yep.
All
All
right.
right, T Money, what you got?
Oh, Team Money, luscious one. So I'm gonna start with this. My one actual game that I got. Uh, Found this PS4 game called The Last Tinker. The Last Tinker: City of Colors. Seemed
Hmm,
pretty interesting. It is the first time I ever seen it when I was out and about, so
strange.
figured I would grab that. It's only
It's not a real
$12.99.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
think you
not
just
real.
I think you
I
printed it out and put it in a PS4 case.
don't give out my secrets, all right? Tyler's
He's
printing
manipulating
101.
the collecting market.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna save this one for last. Two other.
That means
I mean,
it's
they're not
exciting.
games, but they're like plushes.
All
That
right.
since I said I went to the beach, I won some gaming related
Hell
plushies in
yeah.
the claw
We
machines.
fuck with plushes on this podcast.
I got this little Knuckles.
Hell
This little
yeah.
Knuckles plush I won in a
Heck yeah.
25-cent claw machine.
What's going on with his
that.
head? What's with the
Yeah, he
colors
looks
on his
like
head?
he looks like
Yeah,
he's
it's like a
vain.
little. That's kind of the art style. Then there was a Sonic, a
Oh, weird.
Knuckles, a Shadow, and a Tails. I have the big one of the Sonic and the Knuckles, but got the small Knuckles.
Solid.
Uh, Come on, everybody played this when it was a big Fall Guys.
Let's
Got a little
go.
pineapple Fall
How
Guy. That
funny.
was that was pretty neat. When I seen it, I was like, gotta get it.
I like that. That's
Uh,
fun.
those were the video game related ones I got. Won some others, gave some away, stuff like that.
There you go.
Like me some claw machines.
Are you a claw machine master?
Little fun fact: 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, So I was at the beach and I was winning tons of stuff in the claw machine.
Did they kick you
I had
out?
to ask them. No, no, they didn't. They were just watching me. Like, how is he doing it? Um, and I had like 2 trash bags full of plushes. They're still in trash bags back there, around in the little storage area. But yeah, I was just started like giving them out to little kids. I was like, here, you.
Like
Oh, you
Santa.
didn't get it? Take one. Yeah, I was pretty much Santa Claus at the Wildwood, you
Like
know.
Robin Hood or something.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I had a whole like some of them I kept for myself. I got this one Sonic set, some other stuff. But yeah, pretty cool. This is just a box, but we love cardboard.
We
And
do.
I got to give a shout out to our buddy Christian because he's the one who gave me this. I gifted him this a while ago, and then he eventually got a complete one for himself. So then he asked if I would like the box, and I was like, yeah. So shout out to Christian, Samurai Jack,
Nice.
Game Boy Advance, got that. The one other little thing I want to throw in, it's not really part of the game collection, but I had him pick me up a shirt from the convention he went to, Retropalooza.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's
So-
dope.
Oh.
Got a Retropalooza Houston shirt.
That's cool.
Yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Pretty light. In two
Like, I know you're not a
episodes, it won't
Teenage Mutant
be.
Ninja Turtle fan, but that's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle font.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'll
that's
be
so
having
cool.
a-
I wish I knew what it was.
In 2 weeks, I'll be having a lot more once I go to too many games. So be prepared
know.
for
What
that
do you-
long.
What's
Video
the
game
biggest thing
triggers.
you're looking for when you go? What are you on the hunt for?
I mean, it always changes. I mean, I always look for like obscure stuff that you're never really gonna see around.
That's why you never
I
finish
mean-
your sets. Been
But,
working on Vita longer than me.
I've probably, yeah. N-gauge titles, if I ever see them, I pick those up right away.
Mhm.
Unless they're like drastically out there, then I don't. But yeah, this year I don't really have too much I'm specifically honing in on, but see what I get. Always come out with like last year I didn't expect to get a Saturn Bomberman, and I bought a Saturn Bomberman, so
That's a big boy too.
that was crazy. Traded a bunch of stuff, got a Harvest Moon on Super Nintendo, had that for a whole couple minutes, and then I traded that for a Saturn Bomberman, so
That's so funny.
Your Zelda trading quest.
Pretty much.
there you go.
If he went to 2 more people, he could have gotten the big Goron sword by the end of it. So he decided to stop the quest early. Speaking of sets and Vita, one more down.
Oh, we got the
We
farming
got Farming
sim.
Simulator 18. For some reason, a very uncommon Vita game. It's usually like $70, which is disgusting, and that's kind of why it's taken me so long to get it, because I didn't want to spend that much money on it. Got it for under that price, so I'm happy to finally have it. We are down to needing 8 games left for the set. I am
We
so
can't
close.
finish our set until at least October now.
Why?
1001 spikes.
Oh, that's true. So if I finish it, then I'm gonna have to finish it again anyway. I was talking to Tyler about that before you got on, Zach, before we were recording. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm so sick of these companies releasing games for systems like way after they've been done, because I'm like, I finished 3DS like 5 times because everyone wanted to have the last 3DS
last
game.
one, yeah.
And I'm like, I'm tired of buying 3DS games. Stop. I'm like, I did the hard work. Don't put out any more games. It's not
I
allowed.
hope it's not super hard to get, but I feel like it's going to be.
God, I know, because that's one of those things where Vita collectors are crazy, and almost every Vita collector wants or has a full Vita set, so it's like everybody's gonna be hounding that website like ravaged wolves trying to get that game. So it's gonna be very stressful. Gonna have to make sure I'm at desktop, I have it up, ready to refresh as soon as it goes live. Have
Yeah, me
Apple Pay
too.
ready or
Sure.
whatever they take, because the secondhand market for Vita can be pretty brutal. So
I gotta try to get a Vita and a PS4 copy.
oh
I'm
yeah.
just struggling out here.
Yeah, I forgot it's also gonna be on PS4, so
I'd
good times.
prefer to have the Vita, but
Everyone listening that just likes games and doesn't collect them, don't start collecting them. It's not worth it.
yeah, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of
Yeah,
money
you
and a
can
lot
go from
and
this.
a lot of heartbreak and a lot of frustration for absolutely no reason other than you want something on your shelf to collect dust forever.
And it takes
So-
up a lot of space.
It does take up a lot of space. Look behind your man
But
Tyler.
it looks cool though.
Yeah.
It
got
does look
that.
cool. It's true.
Got more shelves.
And at the end of the day, isn't the Reddit karma worth it?
Oh, you gotta have the Reddit card.
Gotta have that Reddit karma. All right, Tyler. I want you to teach me some history. It's time
All
for
right,
Tyler's history lesson.
it's time. I gotta think of like a little jingle I could do myself every time we do that. But For this week's
Tyler
history, it
teaches.
is it is a little light, not too much. So, we're going to start out with May 28th. 1992 is when Nintendo announced that the Super Nintendo Entertainment System will come with one controller for $99.85
Mm.
or with two for $149.95, and you also get Super Mario World,
Mm.
which I mean, great Mario game. And I wish game
Hell yeah.
systems would still do pack-ins because I mean, PlayStation 5 kind of did with the Astro thing, but which was really good. Looking forward to Astrobot. Don't know about you guys,
Oh, I'm
but
so
For
excited.
sure.
it's gonna
I
be great.
cannot wait.
You seen the updated Astro's Playroom? Put
I
extra
did
trophies
see
and
that.
extra things.
Makes you want to
Yeah, I
download it
played
because
it.
they added some more trophies.
Oh,
I
you played
played
it,
it.
Zach?
I'll talk to you about it afterwards. It's weird. I think they're piecemealing it. I think like
Oh.
you can get
Mm,
one of the trophies right now. It's kind of
Oh,
weird.
okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look forward to talking about that then. And then also on May 28th in 1993, big day. You guys know what came out?
Hmm.
Disney released the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Hmm.
Yay!
Great movie. Great. You know, I
Yay!
watched that for the first time. I think it was this year.
Dude, it's
Never
it's
seen
good
it.
bad. People shit on it, but it's a
Yeah.
fun time.
You
Like
know how
even
much
though
it
it's,
cost
It
to make
freaked
it?
me out.
how much did it cost to make it?
Take a guess.
$62.
Each-
200 million.
48 million.
Oh, okay.
You guys were close. Pretty close.
I
Not
think
really.
I was technically closer with
Yeah, really.
$62.
Good job.
Uh,
Price is Right rules, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I love the community around that movie, the people that love it so much and like try to preserve like props and stuff from it. It's super interesting. I I respect the movie for what it is. Definitely not good, but I love bad movies. So I spend if I'm not playing games, usually I'm watching bad horror movies. So I just love
Mm.
I love trash movies, and
gotta
the Mario
restart that
movie
other
is definitely a
channel.
trash movie.
Uh, May 31st. Moving on. Because there was nothing really on the 29th or 30th. 1998. Mortal Kombat 4 released for the PlayStation.
Let's go. I love
Mm.
that game. I know a lot of people don't, but I think it's a really fun time. I
Favorite Mortal
remember
Kombat character.
favorite Mortal Kombat character. I always liked Baraka a lot. I always thought he was really fun and kind of gross. I like the weird ones like him. Melina too. I always thought she was fun. She's kind of like she got that gross like kind of Baraka-ish mouth. Shiva I thought was fun in Mortal Kombat 3. She has one of my favorite fatalities where she just like hammers people into the ground like that and it's super funny. I don't know if I talked about it on this show or not, but I'm actually a very big Mortal Kombat fan. I've played every single Mortal Kombat very very intimately. I was gonna say when I was younger at my local ice skating rink, they had like 3 arcade cabinets, and one of them was Mortal Kombat 4. So that was super cool to see. And it
That's
had
so funny.
I think his name was Quan Chi, the weird gray guy with like the
Quan Chi?
red
Yeah.
things. Yes, that's his. I couldn't remember, but yeah, Quan Chi was on the side of it. And he kind of scared me as a kid because it was just like it was like not like a picture of him in the game. It was like the guy that they modeled him after, and he was just very weird looking to young Craig. So
It's funny you say
Young
that
Craig
because
Lake.
I first played Mortal Kombat at my local roller skating rink.
there you go.
That's where I played
Ooh.
Mortal Kombat and like Tekken and stuff for the first time. But
Yeah,
Nice,
I remember that place also had a cabinet for Carnival, if you've ever played that, which is an awesome, like yeah, it's like an evil clown, like light gun game. It's super cool.
sounds familiar.
hmm
Nice. Also May 31st, 2000, Midway releases Gauntlet Legends for the Dreamcast. Anybody have
I
any
love that
experience with
game.
Gauntlet?
I
Yeah?
played the PS2 version, which no, I think that wasn't Legends. That was a different one. But I played that game a lot with my dad. I don't think I ever owned Legends as a kid though, because that was also on N64, right?
Believe so, yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then there's that really rare variant that has the figure in it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of the wrong game. I did not play that Gauntlet, but in general, I do think Gauntlet is very fun.
Alright. Let's see. And then June 1st, 1999, Pokemon Pinball released on the Game Boy.
I love that game. That was
Yeah.
one of my only original Game Boy games I had growing up because I didn't have too many. I had that. I had the SpongeBob game, which was the first SpongeBob game ever. And I had Pokemon Red, and then I
It's in
had
like the Quest for the Golden Spatula or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. And then I had the two Sabrina the Teenage Witch games, which were based off of the cartoon, not the live action show with Melissa Joan Hart. So
Nice.
June 5th, 1978, Taito releases Space Invaders in Japan. Figured I'd throw that in there because Space Invaders is a iconic game.
hell yeah.
You know what Space Invaders was originally called?
What?
Space Monsters.
Oh, well, I'm glad they changed it because it's not a very good name.
Yeah, Space Invaders is way cooler.
Yeah, Space Invaders sounds way cooler than what the game actually is.
Yeah.
But I do like Space Invaders. That's a fun arcade game.
June 6, 2002, EA released Medal of Honor Frontline for PS2 and Xbox. Threw that in there because of how big Medal of Honor was back in the day, you know, with the online components and all that stuff.
Yeah, I've never played Medal of Honor. I really want to change that.
I got really into Medal of Honor. One of the early, like, it was on the PS3. They like tried to take another swing at being like a big multiplayer game. I played it for a few weeks. It was fun, but I just went back to Call of Duty. I think back to my big Call of Duty arc. Yeah.
All right, moving on to June 6th, big day. Lots of releases. So, June 7th, 2004, Nintendo releases the classic NES SP, prices $100, along with the following NES classic games. So, can anyone name all of them?
Ooh. I might be able to. Zach, do you want to take a swing at it?
I feel like Metroid is one of them. Original Metroid.
I think that came out on a different day, actually, because it's not on this one.
So it does exist.
That is one of them. Yeah.
Okay.
I just noticed that. I was like, yeah, that's not on here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 of them.
Oh, I can't name any of them.
Yeah, there's like 12 in the set or something like that.
I'm gonna say Zelda 2, and then I'll stop. Metroid. I'm just gonna say Zelda 2. It's my only other guess.
Craig.
Okay, I think I could do it. Maybe. So we got Ice Climbers. We got Donkey Kong. We got Mario Bros. We got Zelda 1. We got Pac-Man.
3.
We got is it like Xevious or something like that? Okay. What else is there? I used to own all of these at one point. That's the only reason I know. I don't know the other two. So I got 6 out of 8. That's not bad.
That's a real collector right there.
And Bomberman.
Oh, Bomberman and Excitebike. Okay. Yeah, I had all of those except for Bomberman at one point when I was heavy into GBA collecting.
And then also in 2004, Zelda 4 Swords for the GameCube came out, as well as Sonic Advance 3.
Nice.
I put 4 Swords on NSL already.
I know. I've so badly wanted to play that game, but I've never had enough people to play it with. So.
Yep.
And that'd be so perfect for online. And you know what I was thinking about? Because I figured you two specifically would love to play Triforce Heroes with me. And I was like, great, we can't even do that anymore because the servers are down. Because I've always wanted to play that too.
That would have been a great episode.
I know. The idea of the multiplayer Zeldas is so cool to me. It's just, it sucks that it's so much work to do them. Because I own former Game Boy Advances now. So it's like, in theory, I could play 4 Swords. But it's hard to find people that want to commit to that too. So.
What was the GameCube? Is it Triforce Heroes? There's a GameCube one, right?
The GameCube is 4 Swords.
4 Swords.
So what's
Triforce Heroes is 3DS.
What's the one of the Game Boy Advance then?
I think it is just 4 Swords, and then I think it's 4 Swords Adventures for the GameCube. But I could be mixing that up.
So yeah, 4 Swords Adventures. Is that the one? Does it require? Do you have to play that with the Game Boys, like 4 Game Boy adapters?
Yes. So the ideal way to play it is have 4 Game Boy Advances and 4 cables, so you could hook up to your GameCube, and you all have your own screen to work off of.
Yeah, you can like look down or up, basically.
Yeah. And like access your items and menus that way.
If they can get that to work on NSO, we got to do it.
I know. I'm surprised there hasn't been somebody crazy enough to try to get that to work on like Dolphin or something, so you could do it on PC.
That has happened. You can
look
it up. If you want, Giant Bomb has a playthrough of the GameCube 4 Swords. They did it through some sort of Dolphin nonsense where they were like separate playing online. They played the GameCube Triforce.
See, that makes sense because specifically GameCube era Nintendo fans are the craziest. I feel like we have online Melee with leaderboards nowadays with
Yep.
no input delay whatsoever, and we have all these other crazy different things. So that doesn't surprise me. We have servers still online for Phantasy Star Online. So
That'd be
shout
another fun
out.
episode if we all play Fantasy Star Online.
My gosh, that'd be so fun. I've played that couch co-op with somebody once. We stayed up like all night, probably a year or two ago, just playing through like as much as we could in one sitting, and it was so fun.
Yeah.
It's definitely a grind. I don't think it would be super fun to do alone, but if we all found a way to do it together and try to work our way through like the main story of some kind, that would make for a hell of an episode one day. So
Yeah.
Will be
It'd
fun.
be fun.
it'd also be a great stream on your channel, Zach. We should try that. I mean, maybe this is something we gotta try to workshop eventually. That'd be really
I'm
cool.
down.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, and you said Sonic Advance 3 as well, right?
Yes.
Never played that one, so I only played 1 and 2.
I really enjoy the
I think
advanced games. They were pretty
I
good.
played 2 and 3. That's weird enough.
But I'll admit that I never got the true endings or final boss because I think it's stupid to play through the same game 4 times just to unlock one last level. I think that's very frustrating.
Yeah.
So,
Then we move on to June 8th, 2004. I put this in here. Atlas released Shining Force for the GBA. That's one I want to get to.
oh, okay.
So
Yeah, I've always been super interested in those games just because it's kind of like Sega's Fire Emblem, in a way. So I've always been very curious about those. And there's some people that are die hard for them.
There's one of them on NSO. I've played a little bit of it. I can't remember which one it is on the Genesis app.
Yeah, and then I know the Genesis collections over the years have had them too. So there's many ways to play these games. There's, crazy stuff. There's Sega Saturn versions, there's Game Gear versions, there's Sega CD versions, lots of cool stuff. So shout out to you Shining Force fans out there, all 3 of you.
Then June 9th, another GBA release. GBA was getting all the love this past week.
Hell yeah.
2003, Donkey Kong Country came out for the Game Boy Advance.
Ooh,
I
that's
love
fun.
the Donkey Kong Country games.
Me too. I've never played the Game Boy
gameplay.
Advance versions.
Man, gotta do a Donkey Kong Country episode someday.
That'd be fun. Dude, talk about killer soundtracks too. Those games have
For
the
real.
wildest music. I listen to it all the time. I've never
Aquatic
played 3 though. I've
Ambiance.
only played 1 and 2. So I want to play through 3 and then Returns and Tropical Freeze eventually.
Man. Or if, Nintendo wants to have this direct and announce a new game finally, that would be great.
True,
Please.
but if they do another Donkey Kong game, I kind of want them to try to do another like Donkey Kong 64 style game. I think
I'm
that'd be
down
cool.
for any Donkey Kong game, man.
Only
Give
if
me
he's
something.
voiced by Seth Rogen still.
Feed me.
Monkey's Paw, you get a new Donkey Kong game, but it's Seth Rogen doing the voice.
I'd still play it. But
It's just Seth Rogen really high playing the bongos, the DK bongos.
can you imagine that? We get like a new jungle beat. That's what they do.
Yep.
That'd be fun.
Watch, I'm gonna speak that into existence. And then June 10th, 1992, Capcom released Street Fighter II Championship Edition Arcade in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
And
Nice.
yeah, that's all the history for the past few weeks. Not too much, but
Does Street Fighter 2 have the most versions of a game in existence?
It's gotta be.
It's got to be up there,
Yeah.
right? If not number
It's gotta
1, at
be.
least like one of the top 3.
I would say
I don't even know like definitively what the ideal. I lose track of all the different words that can come after Street Fighter 2. I don't know which one is like the best last.
Oh, I
version.
have no idea either, honestly. All I know is
Super
any Street
2
Fighter I
Ultra
play,
Turbo, and
I
Knuckles.
guess- yeah.
Yeah, and Knuckles. Yeah.
All I know is if I play Street Fighter, playing my girl Cammy. That's all I know. She's my go-to every time.
Yep.
Wasn't that
That's
who
what I
you
made
went
in
to?
Street
Jack?
Fighter 6. Yeah, Street Fighter 6. I played Cammy. Yeah.
You seen the Street Fighter 6 DLC? Going a little off topic, but
Yeah. Got Terry. M
And
Bison.
you know, this is the first
And-
time there's guest characters in a mainline Street Fighter game.
It's
That
kinda
was
cool.
interesting. Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
I think.
It's gonna get Mario in there now from Smash Brothers.
Well, I was gonna say I think Smash Brothers has taught people that crossovers sell fighting
Yep.
games. I
For
mean,
sure.
Yeah.
I don't think it did super well, but even the last Soul Calibur, it had 2B from Nier and Geralt from
Man,
Witcher and stuff, and I
love
think
Soul
that.
Calibur.
So I mean, that was one of the main reasons I bought it because I was like, oh, sick, Geralt Aurelia, let's go.
Just waiting for
I like
Tifa
playing
and
as
Tekken
2B.
7, then I'll buy it.
Dude, if that, yeah, I'll definitely buy Tekken if they add Tifa. That'd be so cool.
Dude,
I've never played
I
a
would play
Tekken
with you
game.
guys.
That's something I've totally missed out on over the years. Is I've never played any Tekken. I want to try
Tekken's
to
fun.
change that because I've heard Tekken 8 is super duper cool,
I Tekken 8.
and
Yeah, my bad. Yeah.
yeah, Tekken 8 is apparently like the most advanced in terms of like teaching you how to play its game and its own mechanics, which is really cool. So I need to pick that up eventually. I'm sure it'll go on sale. Street Fighter 6 is on sale right now, so I might pick that up because it's only $30. That's pretty good for a game that's not that old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I got it for.
Mm-hmm. So good stuff. All right, thank you for the history lesson. I feel like I learned a lot,
Or, as
Mister
always.
Luscious.
And I'm glad you were able to name almost all the Nintendo classics.
Almost. I'm almost a real gamer.
You're pretty good.
I'm a lowercase G right now, but I'll get to the capital G eventually.
Zach really threw me off when he said Metroid, and I was like, why ain't this on the list? It's
I
like,
got,
okay,
a,
this
I,
gotta
got,
be a different
I
day.
got almost one of them.
Almost.
Yeah.
I got
Hey,
an
Zelda
honorable
2
mention one.
Zelda 2 is one of them as well. That also just
And
didn't come out
there's
on
12
the
of
okay,
same
them.
day,
cool.
so
There's like 12 of them? Am I wrong?
I think so. So you got like half a point at least for each of those guesses, I'd
Cool.
say.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
Trying to figure out what the other two were. I don't know. I'll look it
All
up
right.
later.
Well, I think it's time. Topic of the show, boys. Some of our earliest gaming memories. So I don't know about you guys, but being the big, stinky nerd that I am, my first memory in existence is of a video game, because why wouldn't it be?
Of course.
The first thing.
Yeah, honestly.
So I don't know if you guys have this weird thing too, where it's like the further back I go, like my earliest memory of the thing I could remember, it's like a photograph. Like nothing is in motion. I just have like a static image of something that happened, and it was me sitting crisscross applesauce with a Super Nintendo controller in my hand in the overworld of Super Mario World. And I was so young when that happened that I don't remember ever playing it after that because my dad sold the system when the N64 came out. So that
Now,
is
this
my
memory,
earliest
this
memory.
photograph,
Yes,
are you seeing it in first person or in third person?
in
Are you
first person.
see-
It's
okay.
like
Just
this
looking
kind
at
of thing.
himself.
It's like,
Look at Craig
Yeah.
right there.
yeah, I went into third person mode for that. I was
He's
talking
in
about that.
theater
With,
mode, you know.
that's so funny. I was talking to my wife about that the other day. I was like, I wish it was like in real life. There's like a button I could click to have like a third person camera view to see how I look sometimes.
Have you seen those people that do that? They have like the cameras up their back and they
No.
walk around the world in third person. It's really funny.
That's
That's
weird.
awesome. But yeah, my very first memory of being alive is literally the overworld of a Mario game, which is super funny, and maybe that's the way that I
Nice.
am. You know, that might be the reason I am the way I am today, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
But the earliest thing I could ever remember in my life is a video game. I hope it's not. I hope you guys have better first memories than me. Do you guys have a similar first memory?
I don't
I
know
mean,
what my first memory is, honestly.
Speaking, yeah, I'm not sure on like the first memory, but I could tell you, speaking of the Super Mario World, one of my earliest gaming memories was when me and my dad, we would go to like this auction kind of house type thing, and the one time we went and he actually won me a Super Nintendo. And this
Nice.
is the first time ever having a Super Nintendo. I had Street Fighter 2, Tetris Attack, Super Mario World, Donkey Kong Country, and Super R-Type. And the one I really enjoyed Super R-Type. That kind of got me into my love for shmups. I'm a big shmup guy. I need to play more though, you know. Let's see, Donkey Kong Country. I love that series. Played that hell of a lot as a kid. But Super Mario World, that was like my first experience with a Mario game. Same as you know. And dude, just going through that whole game and like when you first discover like the special exits or whatever, and then you go to Star World and all that stuff, and like, you know, it's mind blowing as a kid. You're like, what's going on?
Mind blowing
But just-
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like, you know, my dad sitting down and playing with me, and then him showing me some of the secrets and stuff, you know. It's really cool back in the day. Kinda wish I could, like you said, or just replay some memories, you know, just
Mm-hmm.
have like a little film. Yeah.
What about you, Zach?
Just go off an early memory. One that always sticks out to me. I was really into I'm still really into Pokemon, but I was really, really into Pokemon as a kid because I didn't have as many games, so I would just play them for hundreds and hundreds of hours.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I started with Gen 3 was when I really got into Pokemon, and I finished the Pokemon Fire Red Pokedex, and that was a big moment for me. And then I remember I found out that Pokemon Gen 4 was coming out. I think I've told y'all this story. So I like asked my mom if she could bring me to Walmart the next morning when it was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I camped out in my living room in a sleeping bag, like waiting for this Pokemon game to come out. And I got her to bring me to the Walmart like at 7 in the morning, wherever it was. And the game wasn't on the shelf yet, so I had to go do like the most terrifying thing in the world as a I don't know 10-year old, however old I was, 8-year old. Had to go ask the Walmart man to like go get the game from the back. Um, and he brought me Pokemon Diamond, and I had to correct him that I wanted Pokemon Pearl. I had to send him back.
Oh, you
Um,
were a Pearl kid. Okay.
I was a Pearl kid. And I remember that day I played it for like 12 hours, and I had a level 40 Infernape and then nothing else. I just played,
That's
just
awesome.
like just
Yeah, at least
destroyed the
you had one
game.
of the
Steamrolling
only
it with
two fire
Infernape.
types in the game.
Yeah,
That's true. So you might as well pick them. That's
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Yeah,
Love,
And
the earliest memory I have of playing a game is actually Ocarina of Time, funnily enough, since that'll be our big episode next week, because I remember playing it, like, sitting in my dad's lap, and he was, like, teaching me how to do it, showing me, like, telling me what the buttons do and all the different things, and I remember just being so confused, like, the targeting system and the camera and all these different things, because it's like, I feel like that's a hell of a first game to be your first game.
yeah,
An early 3D game. But I think that's why a lot of times when I play games nowadays, it's like I naturally adapt to weird controls or different controls because I think my brain just learned how to play kind of obtuse stuff very early on. So I'm kind of thankful for that in a way. But
yeah.
yeah, first game I remember playing, like actually playing is Ocarina of Time, which is really cool, and that's probably why I have such a soft spot for it as well. Because it's like I think about when I was a little kid, and that's the first thing that comes to mind is just playing it over and over again, and beating it for the first time as a little kid, and like running around the house cheering as like a 5 or 6 year old or wherever I was, being like yes,
Yeah.
because
The
Ganon's
first
hard
time,
when you're a little kid.
oh, for sure. The first time I played Ocarina was at a daycare. Um, they had an N64 with Ocarina, and I remember I would go there however frequently I went. I don't know. My mom would like go somewhere, drop me off, pick me up. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
there's this N64 with Ocarina in there. And I remember there's several children in this daycare who would come play this N64, and I never knew anything but Kokiri Forest existed. We were just all in Kokiri. We couldn't get out of there.
That's
So
awesome.
I would just go run around Kokiri Forest when it was my turn to play, and then it wasn't until years later when I actually owned it and was able to like actually play the game. I was like, oh, there's more to this than this forest. But yeah,
what?
yeah,
That's so fun. Yeah,
Man.
and I remember getting Majora's Mask in Christmas of 2000, which was really cool. A lot of N64 memories for me are some of my earliest because of my age. I was born in '95, and some of my best memories as well were going over to my cousin's house because she had an N64 as well, but she had all games that I didn't have. Like growing up, I never owned Mario 64, never owned Banjo Kazooie as a kid, and she had those games, which is kind of funny because I was an N64 kid without two of the most essential N64 games, I would argue.
yeah.
But
Mario 64 is a big one.
I know my dad bought an N64 and didn't get Mario 64, so very
That's
strange.
intense. Was he
Yeah.
Because
playing
his
at
dad
launch?
was
Pilot Wings? Just playing Pilot Wings at launch or what?
his
Yeah,
dad was
over and
just a
over.
Sonic Adventure guy. That's why.
Oh,
Exactly. He
okay.
he was a real one playing
Yeah,
getting the
of course.
Dreamcast at launch. But yeah, I remember going there and playing Mario 64 and just being so enamored. I used to think it was so cool. I would just every time I'd go over, I would start a new save file and go through like the first two levels and fight the King Bomb and that I forget what's the name of the one that falls over this
Womp.
like
Womp.
Well,
Womp,
Womp.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember always fighting those two over and over. And then I remember Banjo Kazooie kind of scared me a little bit. I thought Grunty was really scary when I was a kid. And she used to always. And I remember my cousin told me that if you get a game over and you die, you lose your save file. So to make sure you never die. So every time I got like down to one health, I would just restart the console because I was afraid of losing my save.
Nice.
And it's
Iron
just
Man
funny,
run with
like those
Banjo
little
Kazooie.
weird things that people tell you when you're a kid and you just totally believe it because you have
For
no
sure.
reason to doubt them.
Yeah, of course. People have never lied to me before.
Of course not. Of course,
and
Sonic's in Melee if you played 3,000 hours.
Yeah.
All that
another
fun stuff.
thing, I want to go back to how Zach was talking about Pokemon. I'm gonna do a
Mm,
quick little rundown of my Pokemon memories. So
yeah.
first one I ever played, Pokemon Red, and I remember this Pokemon Red might actually be my first game I remember like playing as a kid. Like
Mm.
thinking of it, because I remember one thing I could never figure out how to save the game as a kid, because I was probably like 2. I don't
Because
know,
you couldn't read.
and
Yeah.
yeah, I couldn't read, and like for some reason, like I would only get to the save thing when I'd be standing on like a little flower or something like that. I'm like, is this the only way you could save the game? Yeah, a little fast forward, I found out how to save and all that, but yeah, I feel like an idiot, but
Happy for you.
but I remember then like going throughout the game. Remember going through like Diglett Tunnel and all that, and then you would always find like Pokemon level like 22 or something like that. And I would catch them. I'm like, whoa! And every time I catch a level 22 Pokemon and I level them up once, they evolve. Like this is crazy, you know. And I'm just going through. I'm like, oh, a Diglett turns into Doug Trio. Look at that, you know, stuff like that. Eventually got through that, and then I got Pokemon Silver for myself. Uh, Played through Pokemon Silver, played through Crystal after that, and then I got Emerald. Found
There
that
you
at
go.
a got that at a Game Crazy. Yeah,
Oh.
Pokemon Emerald at a Game Crazy. Played that whole bunch. You know, as I mentioned, Gen 3 is my favorite, so played
Correct.
that one the
Correct.
most. See, thank you. One thing we can agree on.
Yep.
Um,
Go Gen 7 and 4.
But then I remember going to GameStop one day and seeing Pokemon Diamond and Pokemon Pearl like up there on the shelf. And I was like, whoa, like what is that, you know? And then they were like, oh, they're coming out. They're gonna be like Gen 4, like the new games. And I was like, whoa. And I was like, can I pre-order it? Can I pre-order it? Can I pre-order it? You know? And then that was the first Pokemon game, first game in general I ever pre-ordered. You know, got that from GameStop, Pokemon Diamond. Got the whole little Dialga stylus, you know, who
Oh
knows what
yeah.
happened to that now.
Nice.
Remember the top falling off and everything. Don't have that anymore.
That's
I
awesome.
think I have the stand for him where if you got both of them. I mean, I have somewhere in my collection, but and then Pokemon Diamond is actually where I found my first ever shiny Pokemon. And
Hmm.
I remember I found it sitting in a Bennigan's, if anybody knows what that is, little restaurant.
Shout out to Ben
So
again.
yeah, shout out to Bennigan's, you know. Uh it was a shiny Gloom and I killed it.
Huh.
And yeah, that was
I
my
think what my
first ever
first
shiny
shiny was.
Pokemon.
You killed your
Huh?
first shiny you found?
I did because I was like, "What is this? What is wrong with it?" You know.
It's a virus in
then,
my Pokemon game.
and then, long and behold, I was like, "Oh, well, that sucks."
I know. I think about that sometimes too, because when I was a kid, I didn't know what shiny Pokemon were. I'm like, I probably blasted through quite a few of them back in the day and
Yeah,
just didn't even know it because I didn't know that that was a thing.
like I might have in Gen 2. I don't recall any in Gen 3, but who
I
knows?
didn't
But
discover them until I got a Game Shark once for my birthday, and then it was like one of the codes built in to make a Pokemon shiny, and I was like, "What's that?" And I was like, "Oh my god, they're a different color. That's so cool!" And I didn't think that that was like a real thing. I thought that was something you had to hack into the game when I was younger.
Yeah.
and then you
So
find a shiny Gengar, and then you can't tell the difference because he's one of the
pretty
worst
much,
shinies.
I
Except
know.
when he's Mega. When he's Mega, he is pretty nice.
I know. I wish that the Pokemon Company would like retroactively change some of the shiny sprites because some of them are just so crappy.
Are the shiny sprites custom, or is it going to some sort of like randomizer or just like calculator? Like how do they choose? Like 'cause
Like
sometimes some of them are so bad. Like I don't
I feel
Yeah.
understand
like
why.
I feel like it's a mixture of both because some Pokemon like they have some pretty badass shinies. Like I'm trying to think of some offhand. Like
Rayquaza's cool. Yeah.
yeah, like if you think Rayquaza, it goes black. Greninja it goes black. They're two different
Yep.
kind of colors, you know, type thing. But then if you also think of like Pikachu, he goes like an off-brand yellow, and then
Yep.
Zapdos, he goes like an off-brand yellow. You know, so
Yeah. I don't
they
understand
kind
what.
of seem like they have a basis, but then they also don't.
Yeah, it's
I
weird.
don't know. It's kind of odd.
One of
Very
my first
strange.
shinies was a shiny Machamp. I named him Hulk because he's green.
That's awesome.
So
I love that.
yeah, yeah.
One thing I didn't tell you guys yet is every episode I put a little fun guy in the corner over here. This episode, for our overlay, I decided to put my boy Putt Putt because one of my
Oh,
favorite young early game memories is playing Putt Putt Goes to the Zoo and just playing a lot of weird, obscure little games on my PC. I don't think Putt Putt's that obscure. I feel like whenever I bring them up, people don't know what I'm talking about. I feel like more people know like Freddy Fish, Pajama Sam. You don't know any of these, Zach?
Pajama Sam, I've heard of that one. I don't know who Putt Putt is.
Yeah, Putt Putt's like a little purple car, and he has a little dog that hangs out inside of
Mhm.
him. He's just
Of
rolling
course.
around having a good time, going to the zoo and doing different things. But
Now,
that and
Puppet's the
then
car, not the dog. To be clear, Puppet is the
Putt Putt
car.
is the car.
What's
Correct.
the
Yes.
dog's name?
I have no idea.
Well,
I
that's
don't
not
remember.
fair. We can't have the dog.
I gotta find it out.
Now I
Y'all
gotta
keep
know.
talking.
But yeah, I remember playing a lot of games like that on my parents' computer when I was younger. And I had it's funny because I had a couple of random Sega games too. Like that's how I played Sonic R as a kid. I absolutely loved playing Sonic R.
Love
I
it.
thought it was such a fun game. What's the dog's name?
Pep.
Pep. Yes, that's right.
Pep.
Oh my God, his name is Pep.
Pup,
You
pup,
brought it back to
pup,
me.
pup.
Pup Pup and Pep. But yes, I played Sonic R that way, and that's also how I played Sonic and Knuckles as a child. There he is. See, that's my boy Putt Putt. He's a real one. But yeah, that's how I played Sonic 3 and Knuckles. That's how I played uh, Sonic
Man,
R. Played a
I love
lot of
this
Putt
thing.
Putt. Just weird random Flash games along too. A lot of uh, I just very what?
No, I'm just trying to refocus my camera. Keep talking.
Oh,
Oh,
you're okay. Yeah, I just remember playing a lot of just having a lot of random weird games for my PC. Like how I talked a little bit about that Hot Wheels game last week when we were
heck yeah.
talking about licensed games. I just have very vivid memories of my parents' big bedroom when I lived in Peoria, Arizona, and they had their very of the time like late '90s, early 2000s wooden computer, giant desk that was all overhead and just a million
Yeah.
different things shoved in a million different areas with their big like bulky screen sitting in there. And I remember the sound of turning on the computer, and it was just one of those like off-white computers because for some reason plastic back then just always started to get a little bit yellow after a little while.
Of course.
Very
Like
strange. I
the
don't know
Super
why that
Nintendo.
happens. Exactly. There's a lot of old yellowed consoles too. I don't know why plastic used to be that way. I think it's something to
Mhm.
do with oxygen, like some sort of oxidation thing that changes it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a lot of fun memories of going on my parents' computer, mostly when they weren't home because they used to always tell me I was wasting power when I would use their computer. And I was like, how's that any
Mm,
different than the TV, Mom? But
of course. I got really into Bloons Tower Defense on the computer.
oh really?
I love Bloons Tower Defense. That's like the one game I purchased on my phone is Bloons
Mhm.
Tower Defense 6 because I just remember playing it as a kid and I really liked it. So I like to keep up with the Bloons franchise. But
The Balloon Cinematic Universe.
the Bloons Cinematic Universe, yeah.
Oh, and Tyler, you reminded me of bringing up GameStop before. I wanted to say it before I forget. GameStop, I remember how insulted and angry I was as a child because I had a game I didn't like, so I wanted to trade it in. I trade in the game. And they're like, all right, it'll be, you get $5 in credit or whatever. I was like, sweet, $5. And then I went to go look at games around the store. I see the game I just sold them selling for $30. And I'm like, dude, what the
Mm,
hell? I remember as a kid, I was like, Dad, that guy ripped me off. Like, he only gave me $5. My dad's like, that's just how the world works, son.
that's capitalism, son.
Pretty much. And it's like, that's the first time I got slapped in the face with capitalism was I sold a game I didn't like to GameStop.
Damn, that's rough.
I know, and I was just like so sad. I was like, I don't even want to buy anything anymore. I feel like I just lost money. And he's like, you did. You did, son.
That's funny. I got a fun dad game story.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
I, I it was actually about a game I talked about a moment ago. Um, Normally my mom was my facilitator for me buying video games. She would either buy me the games or bring me to go pick out games, yada yada. My dad's very like, um, he didn't really like understand video games. He likes sports. He likes baseball. That's like that's what he
It's a man.
understands. Exactly. So I remember one time, I, my mom didn't want to drive me to Best Buy or whatever to buy a game. So she's like, get your dad to do it. So he begrudgingly drove me over there to go buy a video game. And in his brain, he's like, my son's gonna go buy Madden or like some MLB game, whatever. I remember walking over to the DS section and picking up Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon, and he just like the look of like confusion and disappointment on his face. He just assumed I was gonna go buy a sports video game. I just picked up this like anime strategy game, and he like didn't understand it. Was very confused, and I was like, he's like, "What's Fire Emblem?" I was like, "Ah."
Is that one
But
of them Japanese cartoons?
yeah, basically. So I remember that sticking out with me. That's a funny memory for that game for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Was Shadow Dragon your first Fire Emblem or no?
No, I played Fire Emblem 7, the first Game Boy. Sorry, the first one that came to the West. I played
Okay.
that 'cause my neighbor had it. I liked it a lot, and then I got Sacred Stones when that came out because I liked Fire Emblem 7 so much. But,
Nice, that's
Nice.
cool.
yeah.
I know, and I remember going to McDonald's a lot to also play more N64 games I didn't own. It's funny because a lot of my earliest gaming memories are me playing things that I didn't own. For some reason, those are the memories that stick out to me the most.
Yep.
Like going there, and I remember playing Dr. Mario 64 on the N64 at McDonald's, and I
Mm,
remember playing the Mario parties since I didn't own any of the N64 ones as a kid. I thought they were so cool and fun. We had
yep.
all the GameCube ones, but those of course didn't come out till later. And another thing that didn't happen at home was the first time that I ever played a Sonic game, which was I went over to one of my mom's friends' houses, and they're of course my mom's friend had a kid too, and they're like, you guys go play, do whatever, and I didn't know the kid, and he was like, you want to play Sonic, and I was like, what's Sonic? And he pulled out his Genesis and Sonic 2, and that was the first time I ever played Sonic, and I remember thinking it was the dopest shit I've ever seen in my life, and that was really
That's
cool.
awesome.
And then once we got a game over in Sonic, he was like, "You want to play, Heart of Darkness?" And I was like, "What the hell is Heart of Darkness?" And you guys might not know this game either because it's kind of an obscure one. Any idea? You might know, Tyler, since you're pretty heavy into older PS1 and stuff.
Hmm. Heart of Darkness.
Yeah, so
I
Heart
mean,
of
it's.
Darkness is so you guys know Oddworld, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So think of Oddworld like that kind of like dirty, grimy kind of art style where it's like very rough looking 2D art that's not really pixelated but not really like hand drawn looking either. Um, and it's a tough as nails like puzzle platformer like Oddworld, but it is 10,000 times harder than any of the Oddworld games.
Hmm.
You're this little boy that like tries to save his dog and ends up on an alien planet, and you're trying to save your dog, and you're getting attacked by like basically like like think of like venom symbiote kind of creatures, and they chase you around, and you got to do really tough platforming around that. And it was the hardest shit I've ever played. To this day, I can't beat this game. It's so hard. And I remember when we were younger, playing that with that kid that one time, and neither of us could get very far at all, but he wanted me to try it because he was like, I can't beat this game. Maybe you can beat it. And I could not get any further than he could. And it stuck in my brain because the art style was so distinct. I played that before I ever played Oddworld 2. So I think that kind of helped me differentiate the two, even though they kind of look similar in an artistic way. And for about probably 15 years, I could not remember the name of the game after I played it with that kid, and I never met that kid or saw him again after that, so I couldn't just ask him about it. And then you guys might know the YouTuber Cat Icarus, fantastic YouTuber, very funny, been around a
Yes.
long time. He did
I
a
met him.
video on it, or he did a video on it with somebody else or something, and I remember watching it and being like, "Oh my god, that's the game!" Like that is the game I played at that kid's house, and I was like maybe like 6 or 7 years old, and it's like I've been trying to remember it for literally 15 years, and
That's
it's
awesome.
like part of me thought that yeah, that's it, and part of me thought it was like a fever dream or that like I made it up or something. And then when I saw that video, it's like I don't know if you guys have something like that, like some sort of like memory of a game that you couldn't remember and then you just kind of come across it again, but it's so like weirdly cathartic. I was like, this is real. Like I didn't make it up, and all this time I
Hmm.
thought it was like a weird dream I had or something. And then
That's
when I
funny.
finally bought it and tried to play it again, I was like, nope, just as fucking hard as I remember.
Yeah, I
So,
don't. I don't recall ever knowing of that one. I might have to like look at it sometime.
dude, it
Check
is
it
an
out.
awesome game, but talk about disgustingly difficult. Like, so impossibly hard. But everything else about it, like music, artistically, super cool, super interesting. But to this day, I've never been able to get very far, and it is just so, so tough.
It's affordable too.
Yeah, it's not that
Hmm.
expensive. It's not
It's like
very
30 bucks.
popular. The guy who made it, though, I think his name is Eric Shahi. He also made a much more well-known game. It has multiple names because I think of the different countries you're at least in. It's called Another World or Out of This World, which you guys might have heard of. That's gotten a lot of ports to more modern consoles. It was kind of considered like a revolutionary kind of game for the time it came out. But yeah, so Heart of
Nice.
Darkness, something for you guys to check out. That's very unique, interesting. You don't hear a lot about. You
Hmm.
probably won't be able to beat it, but it'll be fun to at least experiment with.
Yeah, I'll check
I
it out.
got. I got one thing to look for when I go to the convention.
No, totally. Like Heart of Dark, it's not expensive. It's like it's kind of been an unknown game for I feel like a really long time, and I'm always surprised. Like it's just an interesting PlayStation deep cut. Like I said, I played it once as a child, didn't hear about it again for about 15 years, and to this day, no one ever talks about it still. So,
Yeah.
I gotta see the speedrun world record of it.
oh, there you go. See how fast it is. It is so disgustingly hard. But it is really cool. I definitely think you guys would enjoy it, especially if you do like Oddworld. I love those games to death. So
Only six people on the leaderboard, and
nice.
the record is 39 minutes 34 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah.
If I tried to put my lifetime of playing it on there, it could be over 15 years and I still get on the leaderboard because there's
Yeah, you'd be
not enough
top
people
10.
to fill the top 100.
In the world.
Perfect. And you know what? That might be accurate. If I was seventh on there with 15, 20 years of playing that game, it might be accurate
Yeah,
because of how damn hard it is.
it's funny.
And another, I'm gonna go with another memory that I have. This one is with the Dreamcast. I mentioned this before, but gotta show love to the Dreamcast.
Hmm.
So I remember the one time my dad was dating this girl who lived like an hour away or so. So like one weekend we'd go to her place, the other weekend she'd come here, vice versa. And I remember going to her place. It was nice because she had a Dreamcast. And that's, like I said before, first got introduced to Sonic Adventure, got introduced to Croc. Uh, and at this time, like I also had a PS1 at home. I'd play. That's when I got introduced to Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, and I was a big little gaming mascot kid. Played all the gaming mascot games, and it was great because they're all fantastic. I mean, go back to Croc, maybe not so much, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
going through and playing them like back then at that age, they were like really good games. Especially like Crash Bandicoot. I got my love for the Crash Bandicoot series. I remember playing through. I think I started with one. No, I started with two. I played two, and then one, and then three. But I think out of the main three, three is my favorite for the
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot. And then Spyro, I played one, two, three. Played
Mhm.
through that pretty straight. Uh, yeah, I love all those games, all the '90s mascot games. And Craig, I feel like you're with me on that.
No, totally. I did miss out on a lot of them initially. Like I didn't play Crash till I was older. When I was younger, I had Spyro, One, and Croc and stuff. And I do love a lot of those games, but I missed out. I kind of came late to them. So as much as I appreciate them, I wasn't there back in the day for a lot of these mascot
Oh, I did
characters.
not
Yeah.
know that.
I played
Yeah.
Crash 1, 2, 3 on the PS1. I played Croc on the PS1, but I didn't play Spyro. I only played Spyro through one of the Crash demo, like the demo on one of the Crash discs.
Yeah.
That's
What's
cool.
your favorite Crash Bandicoot?
I honestly, I haven't played them in so long. I didn't play the remasters, so they just kind of all blend into one blob to me.
Mhm.
I mean, probably just Warped, just because, I mean,
Crash
just one I could think of the
Bandicoot
most.
3.
But
Mhm.
to me, they all kind of just blend together. I need to play more Crash 4. It's still downloaded on my PlayStation. I've never beat it.
Crash 4 is so good. It's one
Yeah.
of the insaneliest hardest platinums, but it's
Insane.
good. Yeah, you see what I did there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
have
always
a
think
lot
I'm
of.
like, oh, I need to go back and platinum that, but
Dude, it's hard.
I did like one time trial like a month.
But yeah, I have a lot
Do
of
you have to beat
memories
the
of
dev
playing Croc
times, or do you just have to
specifically.
beat the?
You just gotta get the platinum relics. So
Okay, you don't have to do dev
the ones right
times.
before that, but dude, they're like, like if it was the normal, like in the first three Crash games where you just slide spin, slide spin, slide spin, it was so much easier to maneuver. Now you got to do this like perfect timing triple spin and all this.
Just too many more
It's
options instead of mechanics.
yeah.
That's brutal.
You got to get those. You got to get the insanely perfect relics where you got to go through the level, get all the boxes, and do it all in one life. You got to do that for every level.
Jeez.
And in the Insane trilogy, you only had to get the gold time relics, not the platinum ones, so it was a little easier. But
Yeah. Nice.
yeah, a little off topic, but yeah.
No, you're okay.
What's the first like either console or handheld that y'all can remember buying?
So, I don't remember the first. The first console I was ever able to like buy with my own money wasn't until I got my first job at McDonald's. So that was when I was a bit older. But I could tell you about the first console that I received, which was mine. So I remember It was Christmas of 2002, and I remember opening up gifts. I wanted a GameCube so badly, and I was opening up my gifts from Santa. I opened up a copy of Super Mario Sunshine, and my mom's like, "Oh, like, aren't you so excited?" And I'm like, "Well, no, because I don't have a GameCube to play it on. Santa didn't give me
Yeah.
a GameCube. He must have thought I had one already,
Santa's an
but I
idiot.
don't." And then 3 or 4 gifts later, I open up the GameCube, and I'm like, "Ah!"
Yeah, just screaming.
The most excited I'd ever been in my life. And I remember I got that, and I remember my GameCube came with Melee. So those are the 2 games that I had to start out with. So fantastic way to start my lifelong love for the GameCube, as to this day still my favorite console. Funnily enough, to this day, still not a big fan of Mario Sunshine, but
Oh,
Melee is still one of my.
I'm a Sunshine defender. I still love Sunshine.
I don't. It's just not for me. I guess I don't
And I'm
really
with you, Zach.
dislike it. I want us to do an episode on it eventually because I want to force myself to finish it because I've never actually finished it. But
Mm.
yeah. So that is the earliest console I remember receiving that was like actually mine, and then I remember a few years later getting a DS for my birthday and stuff like that. But GameCube is the one that sticks out the most because I remember the low disappointment of thinking Santa got me something I can't have yet to the super duper high of having the thing I wanted like most of the entire world as a 7-year-old.
I think we covered this on one of the previous episodes. You and I both got a GameCube that Christmas, and Tyler
Yes,
didn't.
I
that's right.
didn't.
Yes,
I
that's right.
even
We
told
have talked about
Santa.
this.
I told him. I was like, he was like, "What
Yeah.
do you want for Christmas?" I said, "A GameCube." A GameCube. All right. Didn't get one, but
You were
but I
naughty that
remember.
year.
Man, mall Santas
Uh,
must hear the wildest shit all the time. What the hell is a GameCube?
uh,
This poor old senile man just trying to get a
Yeah.
little extra money.
Yeah.
I remember the. So going back to your question, Zach, the first handheld I remember getting with my own money. I remember this is when Pokemon Soul Silver and Heart Gold first came out,
Mm.
and I remember something happened to my DS, so I didn't have a DS again. And so I took like a whole bunch of like my old stuff, went to GameStop, traded it in, regret a lot of that nowadays, but it is
Yeah.
what it is. I'm accumulating it back, so it'll get there. Um, but I remember trading it all in, and then he told me like my total of how much I had, and I was just like, all right. And then in my head, I was like, oh man, I only got enough for the DS and not Soul Silver, but I was like, yeah, at least I got a DS. So I got a DS. And he was like, all right, you still have like $58 in this. I was like, whoa, let me get that Soul Silver. I want that Soul Silver. So that was the first handheld I got. And I remember I went to my buddy's house and he was playing Heart Gold, and then his friend was playing Soul Silver. We stayed up all night just playing that. That was great. But and then for the home system, I mean, that I pay with my own money
Hmm.
was actually a PS3 that I bought myself.
Oh, okay.
I remember I really wanted one because a lot of my friends had one and wanted to play online. It was one of the big things back then. Some of the people watching are probably like, "Wow, you guys are young," but but
Well, you're
so
the youngest of the 3 of us, to be fair, but
yeah, 26. But
you're a baby. I'm over here, 28, practically 6 feet under already.
and yeah, I remember I was going around like doing things, earning money and stuff. And then my one neighbor, she was like moving from like in this one apartment complex down to the other one. And
Mm.
then she knew I was saving up to get a PS3, and she's like, "How much did you still need, or something like that?" And I was like, "I think it was like 120 or something like that." She's like, "Well, I'll tell you what, help me move everything, and I'll give you the rest of the money for it." And I was like,
Heck
"Oh,
yeah.
really?"
What a
So
bro.
helped her move all her stuff, got all that done, and then when that was over with, took me to GameStop, and I got a PlayStation 3.
Nice.
So
What was
Nice.
the
yeah,
first game you got with it?
first game I got with it was. Hold on, I gotta think. I don't fully remember. Got the PS3, and I think it might have been like Call of Duty game. It was probably Modern Warfare 2. Yeah, it was Modern
There
Warfare
you
2
go.
because I didn't have Black Ops yet, but Black Ops was the newest Call of Duty. That's how it was. And then
Nice.
eventually I got Black Ops. But then I picked up Infamous 2 and some other stuff. But yeah.
Nice.
Or when I got my PS3, I really wanted Little Big Planet specifically, and I was like,
Mhm.
kept telling my mom, I was like, I want, when I get a PS3, I want Little Big Planet, and I ended up getting it for Christmas that year. funny enough, she bought me Little Big Planet, but she didn't realize the PlayStation 3 also came packed in with Little Big Planet, um, and also came packed in with Ratchet and Clank, Crack in Time.
Oh,
And
nice.
I was a Nintendo, for the most part, a Nintendo kid growing up. I had a PS1, but it was like a hand me down. I basically just played Crash and Croc. I didn't play a whole lot of games on that. Um, but so I was mainly a Nintendo kid, so I didn't know anything about Ratchet and Clank. So I got my Little Big Planet, and I was loving Little Big Planet. So I played through that whole game. I had Ratchet just sitting off to the side. I didn't care about playing it. And then I remember I was like, okay, I guess I'll try this Ratchet and Clank game. Now that I've beaten Little Big Planet, and I just like loved Crack in Time so much. It's one of my favorite games ever. It's like a top 15 for me.
Wow,
Crack in Times, I love Crack in Time so much. I've
nice.
played through that game like 6 times. But yeah, I just remember it's funny. I didn't even care about it, and then it ended up just like being my one of my favorite PS3 games.
That's
Uh,
cool.
yeah,
Speaking of like Ratchet and Clank and stuff, did you ever play the Jack and Daxter games?
I did not. No.
No, I remember my buddy Jonathan, his dad Jason. He's like a big Jack and Daxter fan, and that's kind of what got me when I had a PS3 to go back and get the collection because I didn't play them on the
Nice.
PS2.
Hmm.
And yeah, I really enjoyed those 1, 2, and 3. Those are pretty good platformers.
I never played three. I don't think. If I did, I don't remember it. But I very much remember playing one and two growing up. So, but it's been so long since I played them. Like I haven't played them since I was a kid that I've pretty much forgotten everything about them. I remember the humor being really good, and I remember how wild the animations were when you would like ground pound his like jack and stuff, like the like he would just go fucking nuts spinning around. I remember that stuff, but
Got to
I
go to
definitely
the
wanna play
go
through
to the
those again.
Oracle. And he's like, "You have to bring me 120 power cells in order to get." No, it's precursor orbs. Damn it! And it's like, "You better bring me 120 precursor orbs in order to get a power cell."
That
There it
that
is.
was kind of freaking me out, Tyler. That voice coming, like, that was very
Don't
good.
expect it. You will never know who is talking.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's
Like a voice modulator.
Thank
I
you.
keep bringing up games I want to do for the show eventually, but definitely Jack One and the original Ratchet and Clank I'd like to play because
Yeah.
I've only ever played the two most recent Ratchet and Clanks, the one for PS4 and then the new one Rift Apart, and I really like those. So I'd like to
Yeah.
play some of the older Ratchet and Clanks eventually.
Yep.
Yeah,
Rift Apart's
and
a
but
great game. But
the amount of games that we have lined up for like that we want to
Yes,
play, we're definitely going to episode 100. We making it. Guess I'm not
true.
quitting.
But PS2 specifically, I remember the first video game commercial I ever saw, and it made me want a game more than I ever wanted at that time. And that was, you guys might have seen this too, because I know you've said, Zach, that you were very big, and you're still a big Disney fan, but you probably were when you were younger too, I'm assuming, as
yeah.
many of us were. I remember watching Disney Channel and seeing that very famous Kingdom Hearts
Have you
trailer when I
watched the
was
Disney
younger.
Yeah.
Channel?
One of the greatest, yes, the one of the greatest video game trailers of all time, commercials of all time. I always think about it. I remember seeing it as a kid and just being blown away, being like, I could go to fucking Atlantis. Let's go. Like,
When you walk away.
exactly. It was so hype and so good. I remember, and especially back then, it's like it met every expectation. I thought that it was the coolest game ever. But for people like me, I'm sure I wasn't the only one back then. For a lot of us, that was our first like action RPG like that. So there's a lot of learning curves. I hadn't played a lot of games like leveling up and just like different equipment and different things. So I remember have a lot of memories of my neighbor across the street, Destin was his name. He's also the one that I used to play a lot of Sonic Adventure with and different things like that. He got Kingdom Hearts before I did, and I remember going over there and playing with him. And I remember I going to him all the time, being like, "I can't beat this boss. What do I do?" And he's like, "Did you change your Keyblade?" And I'm like, "There's more than one Keyblade. Like what?" And it's like I just remember that was such a learning curve for me because that was my first like real RPG that I ever played. And nowadays, that's by far my favorite genre is JRPGs. So, seeing that Disney commercial on Disney Channel back in the day really set me on a trajectory for what would be some of my favorite stuff, ever.
So this
Nice.
isn't technically like an early gaming memory, but it's a Kingdom Heart memory
Okay.
because it's my first time playing the series. I'll put it that way.
Hmm.
So I didn't delve into Kingdom Hearts until like 3 was about to come out. So I was like,
Hmm.
oh, 3 looks really good. So I want to go through and play the other ones. So I was playing Kingdom Hearts 1, and how you said about switching keyblades, mine wasn't
Hmm.
necessarily that. But so I was going through Kingdom Hearts 1, and then I think I got to the part where it was like you were facing like a Shadow Sora or Dark Sora or something like that.
Hmm.
And dude, I was just getting wrecked like insanely. And I was like, what is going on? And then my friend was watching me play it, and he was just like, how is he? You got this on like the hardest setting or something? Like, and then he went through my items, and I still had all those items to like upgrade my like attack and all that. Like, I never used any of them because I didn't know those were a thing. And
Yeah,
then he was like, "What are you doing with these?" And I was just like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "They make you stronger." I was like, "Oh, yeah, put all those on, and then yeah, I
that's
beat him
funny.
no problem." And I was like, "Wow, all right."
Nice.
Well, Kingdom Hearts memory.
That's funny. Yeah, I
I never
remember,
played
and then I
Kingdom
remember
Hearts.
being super excited for Kingdom Hearts 2 and getting it and thinking it had the worst, most boring intro of all time, and I still feel that way. the intro the intro to Kingdom Hearts 2 is very long and very slow. I kind of appreciate it more now that I'm older because I appreciate aspects of games that aren't exactly fun. I think sometimes it's okay for a game to not be fun as long as it's still expressing what it wants to artistically express to you. But Kingdom Hearts 2 has a very slow start, and I remember being super bored as a kid, being like, "Where the fuck is Sora? Who's this Roxas guy? I don't want to be a Roxas."
Funny.
What's a
But
Xehanort?
yeah, I wonder how you'd feel about it, Zach, because I feel like a lot of people that didn't grow up with Kingdom Hearts have a really hard time getting into it because of how corny it is.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
it's unabashedly corny, and I kind of really respect it for that. But part of me feels like I don't know how much I'd like it either if I didn't play it as a kid.
one of these days I'll get around to it. I think I'd probably enjoy it. I feel like I like when things are stupid in video games. I can get over that stuff pretty quick. If it's like
Hmm.
what gets me is when stuff is like trying to be real serious and cool, and then it's just very very stupid. Maybe Kingdom Hearts is that, but I wouldn't
Yeah,
take it
well,
that seriously. So
all the memes you see at Kingdom Hearts are like, my friendship is the light and the darkness is bad and Kingdom Hearts is light. It's like
yeah,
that's all real dialogue and that's okay. It
yeah,
is corny and funny, but I like corny and funny, and really at the end of the day, Kingdom Hearts I think gameplay wise still holds up very well. It feels like a PS2 game, but I think most PS2 games feel good. So I say that as kind of a compliment.
yeah.
And the cheesy writing aside, um, to me, this I don't know. I kind of like it, so I would recommend it to people that like action RPGs because it's still, even if you hate the story and it could be convoluted and confusing, whatever else, still a very fun playthrough, and it's very interesting because I think that the game is actually pretty hard for being a game that's really aimed more towards a younger audience, especially the first one. Um, at least if you play on the harder difficulties, especially you could hit a wall pretty early on if you don't do a decent amount of grinding, especially in the Tarzan world. Since you played it more recently, Tyler, you might remember Clayton's a pretty tough battle for being only
Hmm.
like the second or third boss in the game. He's pretty tough. So, and I
Especially when
kind
you're
of
not
like
using your attribute buffs.
no, yeah, and it's kind of cool that like a game that was more aimed towards the younger audience was brave enough to be hard as shit during that time because it's not NES times anymore where everything was hard to last longer.
Yeah. Funny.
All right, well, unless you guys have any more you'd like to add, we do have quite a few audience write-ins that we could start to read some, so that could
I'll
be
do
fun.
a couple quick ones for me, real
Yeah,
quick.
of course, of course.
Um, I was the buying the console thing. The
Hmm.
first one I bought was my
Oh
DS,
yes.
my original DS. I did not have enough money to buy a game though, so I just played Metroid Prime Hunters demo on my DS for a long
Hell
time
yeah.
until my mom eventually bought me a game. Um, and yeah, so that one sticks out to me. It's like that demo cart was like really important to me because that was like my DS game
Hmm.
for the longest time.
Yeah, I remember mine came with that too. My parents, for my birthday, I remember that year, they got me, it was like one of those blister pack bundles that you'd get from like Costco or somewhere. And it
Yeah,
had that, and it came with Mario 64 DS, came with the Prime demo cart, and it came with Nintendo's Chihuahua version. And I loved
nice.
that game. I
Yeah,
had my little Chihuahua named Chi Chi, which was named after my neighbor's Chihuahua that was also named Chi Chi. So,
nice.
good times. All right, first we have Mr. Jonathan writing in. Jonathan says, "My earliest memories of gaming was the one time me and Tyler were racing to beat Crash Bandicoot 3. I came in first. It was a really fun time, and I know he wants a rematch." So you got your boy
So
Jonathan calling you out for
Yeah,
being slow as shit at
no,
Crash 3.
no, hold on. I was like a whole world ahead of this guy. Okay, and you ever played Crash 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was a whole world ahead of this guy. I remember we had two consoles, and then we were just both playing at the same time. You know, two different
Mm-hmm.
TVs, everything. And then I was just killing it. I was so far ahead. I was like, oh, I got this easily. You know. Then I got to the bike level, the last bike level, and I kept messing up. I could not get past his bike level. He ended up getting past me, beat the bike level the first time, and yeah, I was done. I was like, well, I'm gonna lose. But I do want that rematch, Jonathan. So you're on.
Calling you
You're
out,
on.
Jonathan. Boot up that PS1.
Yeah, the luscious one is after you.
He's coming.
The
He's
luscious
luscious
ones
and
acting.
dangerous.
Luscious and
Next up,
loaded.
Anastasia wrote in, I vividly remember playing Jersey Devil on the PS1 in our living room. It was probably 1999 and my brother and I were trying to get to the hidden extra level under the statue in the center of town. We felt so cool and so special for finding this big secret part of the game where Jersey Devil essentially snowboards through the level. Definitely formed that love of 3D platformers I have early on. Anyone have any familiarity with Jersey Devil?
I do not.
Sure don't.
That's another more obscure PS1 game that you guys would both very much enjoy. Very Looney Tunesy, very whimsical. The music is amazing. Very like Halloweeny, horror themed, cutesy 3D platformer. So really cool. Definitely worth checking out.
Nice.
Next up, this is a write-in from Hector. Hector said, my earliest memories of gaming is playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 with my father and him always winning until I started getting better at the game. Hector, you must be very young for Call of Duty Modern Warfare
Like
2 to be your
2009, I
first.
think.
Yeah, but
He's
you
a
know
couple
what?
months younger than me.
Oh my gosh. Hey, you know what? That's still cool. I always have a lot of very good memories being younger, playing games with my dad specifically, because I've always been lucky to have a super nerd as a father as well. Still plays World of Warcraft to this day. Shout out to my dad.
Nice.
Next up, we have Patrick. Patrick said, getting an Atari 2600, the Sears version, as a hand-me-down from our neighbor. He let me and our other neighbor split the games grab bag style and being beyond exciting when I pulled out a copy of Frogger out, the game I wanted most. I think that's really cool. That's a fun way to have a cool memory of getting a game you love.
Heck yeah.
I love Frogger. That's one of my favorite, just super old games. My favorite iteration is the PS1 version. Super weird and interesting. Very cool version of that game to play if you've never played it.
I feel like I've played that. Like something just came to my mind. I gotta like go check my stack of games over there.
Let's see if you
I
have
feel like
it.
I
Yeah,
played Frogger on the PS1.
it's really cool. It's like a bunch of different stages and worlds, and like it has a bunch of weird fixed camera angles. It's very very cool. I absolutely love the PS1 Frogger, but I love the OG Frogger too. It's a good time running across the road, trying not to get squashed by the trucks. Very, very fun and quirky.
Patrick also told me the reason his neighbor gave him the Atari was because the neighbor ended up getting an NES. He was like,
Oh, okay.
I don't want
That's
you
kind
no
of cool.
more. But hey, you gotta
All
love
right.
the classics.
Now, I hope you all packed a lunch, because our next write-in is a long one. But since this man spent the time to write us Moby Dick in his own personal life long story, I figured we had to respect it and read it all. So this is a write-in from Jason. Jason said, hello, this is Jason. I remember to put my name this time, which also just gave me a good chuckle. I appreciate that, Jason. He said, I have a couple of earliest gaming memories I would like to say, but I couldn't pick just one. And let me tell you, he had to pick 4. So we got his first one, which is my first one, would be when I was around 6 or 7 years old. We had gone over to my Uncle Mike and Aunt Barb's house, and they always had the TV down there in the basement. Went downstairs to watch some TV, but this time it was a bit different, as there was something hooked up to the TV. Now this, of course, is going to show my age a bit, but what was hooked up to the TV was none other than the Atari VCS, or more commonly known as the Atari 2600. I started playing games like Combat, Pitfall, Kaboom, and Night Driver, and that's what got me hooked on games forever. It does show your age a little bit that that's the first thing you remember with video games, but I think that that's neat.
I
It's
do
so
love
funny
me
that-
some Kaboom.
It's so funny games are just called things like Combat.
I know. I love soccer, football.
Yeah.
I wish we still had that. Like, I wish that Madden was just called football to this day. No
Are you
number,
picking
no
up
year.
football this year? Yeah, we're picking up football. Yeah.
I love it. I
Oh,
know
I'm thinking
it
about
shows his
Kaboom.
age by not having a name. That's awesome.
I told him one day we like if we ever decide to have a guest, we should definitely have him because like it'll just be like two totally different perspectives of retro.
No, totally, and I think that'd be really cool. I know I talk to my dad all the time because my dad, he had a Pong machine when he was younger. He had an Atari 2600 and a lot of the different games for it. He always tells me that like he was obsessed with adventure and what's it called,
Adventure.
Pitfall and stuff like that. No, exactly. I know one of my favorite things in the world is that the first adventure game is called Adventure. Like the first
Yeah.
adventure like genre game is just called Adventure. That's so funny to me. Video games used to be
And
cool. What happened?
What happened?
yeah,
Now we
we
got
got
Stellar
Superman
Blade
title.
and Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Ugh. All right, and then he said his second memory would be of that after playing this new exciting machine that you could play on your TV. I asked my parents that I needed my own Atari, and of course they said no. For one, they said you don't need to be sitting around all the time playing these video games, and the second, grow up. They would think it was going to ruin the TV. So then Christmas comes around, and good old Uncle Mike and Aunt Barb came through and got myself, and my brother Tim an Atari 2600 some games. Shout out to Uncle Mike and Aunt
Heck
Barb.
yeah.
They're
Yeah,
looking
shout
out.
out.
It's funny because I also have an Uncle Mike and two Aunt Barbaras. So it's kind
That's
of funny
funny.
that this man also has. They're not married or not together, but separately. I have an Uncle Mike and two Aunt Barbaras. But yeah. So they came through and got myself and my brother Tim Atari 600 some games. Let's just say mom and dad were not happy, which is awesome.
That's
Number
funny.
3 would be the NES had just come out and it was on top of my Christmas list. There's a slim chance of it actually being under the tree that year. Christmas came and no NES. So what does one 8-year-old
Me and
do
my
when he
GameCube.
doesn't get that NES for Christmas that year? Why, use his Christmas money and go buy it yourself. That's a power move.
Yeah.
Shout out to that. Showing your parents who's boss.
Yeah.
All right, for his fourth and last memory. Now, by this time, my parents have given up on trying to stop me from playing video games. Now there seems to be a theme around Christmas and video games not trying to do this on purpose. That's okay. That is okay, sir. The year is 1991 and the SNES was coming out. What does the 14-year-old want? You guessed it, an SNES. Except this time, Santa didn't disappoint because not only was that an SNES under the tree, but also a copy of Final Fantasy II that had also been on my list. Well, that's just a few of my gaming memories. I'm sorry for it being so long. I couldn't just pick one, and thank you for reading some of this longtime gamers' memories. But you know what?
Heck yeah.
I love that. I appreciate your writing because it's fun to see you triumphantly overtake your parents not wanting you to be a gamer.
Like a whole
And
story.
you know what?
Dude.
Underdog
Exactly, you know what?
story here, yeah.
Yeah, nerds persist. We find
My
a way.
parents said no to my parents caved in and said, you know what, I'll get you the system.
And not only that, they gave you Final Fantasy 2. They were getting you like the real nerd shit back then. Let's go.
Heck
Jason's a big RPG guy.
Yes, and
He's
I
also a big
would love
trophy
to,
hunter.
yes, I would love to talk to him
Right.
about RPGs, especially since I've recently, within the last year, played through Final Fantasy 2/4. So it'd be cool to talk to him about that. I really like that game. But yeah, shout out to you and your little journey to your connection to this hobby. I think that's really fun.
I remember one thing, I know I'm kind of like adding on one of his memories. He would
Yeah, go
always
for it.
tell me how back in the day at Toys R Us, like, I personally don't remember this because, I'm young, I'll put it that way. So,
Gosh.
but,
And he's old.
no, he's not. I didn't say that. I love you, Jason. So at Toys R Us, like I guess they used to have where you'd pick like the card up for the game you want, and then you'd go to the guy at the booth and you give him the card, and then that's when he would give you the game. He'd be like, "You always wanted to be that guy. You wanted to be that guy at Toys R Us." I was like, man, shout out to Toys R Us.
Shout out. I remember going there a lot as a kid and never buying anything because their games were always more expensive than everywhere else's usually.
I would go to my Toys R Us for a weekend Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments. We had
Really?
Like,
That's
we had
cool.
like Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments. Yeah, we had a little book, and you had to like get like a someone to sign that you played someone that they'd keep your record and stuff. I never won
really cool.
ever because I was a child playing against like teenagers, so they just kicked my ass. But it
That's
was
awesome.
fun.
That's really
Toys R Us
fun.
is where I got my first ever Pokemon distribution event. I got my Manaphy egg from the movie.
That's
My
cool.
local
Pokemon
game store does
Platinum.
those. They do like they do like Pokemon distribution events with like I guess they have the cartridges. I guess I don't know how that
Oh
works.
Oh,
my
okay.
god, really?
That's
That's
cool.
so cool.
Yeah. They do them like every couple months. Yeah.
That's cool.
Was-
I like that.
I always want to like collect those carts, but now they're so expensive. So I'm
Oh
like,
my gosh, yeah.
I know somebody
Yeah,
that has like a whole set, and I'm just like, no.
nah, it's too much. Yeah, I remember going to Toys R Us though when I was younger, and I remember it's where I got all of my Sonic Adventure toys that I used to have as a child because I had a lot of Sonic Adventure toys.
So
Eventually, I
jealous.
gave them away like a stupid dum dum. I wish I still had them,
You
but
stupid dum dum.
a
I
stupid
would love
dum
to
dum.
have
And
those and the Crash Bandicoot ones.
yeah, I've seen those too. I had some Ocarina of Time toys as well. It was cool. I remember I had it was like Kid Zelda and her horse. I had Ganon and his horse. I had um, Adult Link with his horse, and then there was also one of Impa. She came with Zelda and her horse. So really cool little set. I don't remember what line it was. I'd have to look it up, but it used to
Hmm.
be cool when you would find toys like that back in the day. Like now, you go to Target and they have a whole aisle of Sonic and Mario toys, but back then it was such a novel and cool thing to see. So
Yeah.
The only thing about the Sonic toys now is you're going looking for other characters, and it's just Sonic, 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 Sonic. And
yeah, like I understand you gotta have Sonic in every set, but it's like, do you? I mean, everyone that's buying Sonic toys probably already has Sonic, so
I just want my Jet the Hawk, dude. Still
yeah,
need it.
that's hard. I've heard that's very hard to find.
I need Jet and Super Silver, and I think those. Yeah, I need
He's
Super
checking.
Silver. I didn't
He
know.
needs Super
I got them
Silver.
like all hanging up. I'm like,
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a Super Silver for sale, hit up Tyler on Twitter.
She sells super silvers by the seashore.
No, she doesn't. I was just there. I checked.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Well, that is some of our earliest gaming memories. I hope you all enjoyed us reminiscing for a little while. And thank you for everybody writing in, of course, about that. Don't forget, next episode, in 2 weeks from posting this, Ocarina of Time. Be sure to write in your thoughts about what you like, dislike about it. Tyler, you gotta get to it.
Don't worry.
Zach,
Right
you've,
here.
you've already played it before, so if you don't finish it, at least you already know what's going
I'm
on.
gonna be
I
using
like
already-
it.
it.
I'm way ahead of the game. I beat it a long time ago, unlike you chumps more recently.
Speed
so.
demon over here, 15 hours.
I know.
Don't worry.
I know.
Watch this one will be up
I
till
was
6
gonna look
a.m.
it up. Let me do it right now because I'm curious how long to beat says for the average time on this game.
Oh,
What
it's
do you
like
guys
double
think
that.
it is?
It's like I'm pretty sure it's like in the 30s is what it says.
Let's see.
I'm gonna say it says
Aka?
24 and a half. Random guess.
Let's see. Ocarina of Time. Yeah, it says main and extra 30 and a half hours. I did
Okay.
main and extra in because I got, I got some heart pieces. I got some Skulltulas. I got the big Goron sword. I did like the whole mask quest. So I did a decent amount of side stuff too. So I made sure to get every item, all the bottles. So I went pretty dang fast for 15 hours.
I remember you were talking to us, and you were just like, "Yeah, I made it to this point. You know, did the fire dungeon, did all this." We're like, "What?" And then the next day, you're like, "Yeah, beat it," and we're like, "What?"
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, talking about cozy games, it's like that was definitely one I definitely could have put on that list a few episodes ago because it's like I put it on and it's just like it feels like home. I'm just like, Hyrule Field, like I just know where everything is, all the little secrets. I don't think I've ever 100%ed it because it really isn't worth it, but
Yeah.
it'll be more fun to go in depth about this next episode. If you like the
Sure.
episode today, please be sure to subscribe, like, comment. It helps us out since we're still a pretty new show. I know I promised putting us on audio services and podcast services. I haven't done that yet, so I apologize, everybody. I promise I'll do it eventually. But until then, Zach, where can everyone find you?
Find me on YouTube at Daily Beating. And then you can find me here every 2 weeks.
Yeah. Do you have a set stream schedule, or are your streams kind of sporadic?
I would like to say I try to stream on Tuesdays and sometimes Sundays, but I'm just kind of stream when I get time, honestly.
Yes,
Ideally,
but his
I would like to
streams-
stream twice a week, but I normally don't do that.
Yeah, his streams are great though, so be sure to check out his streams if you guys
Appreciate
have
it.
time, of course, and subscribe to his channel. Tyler, where can everyone find you?
You already know, 17 different ats. I got Game Collecting Reaper on Instagram, but other than that, Tyler Hate on Twitter, Tyler Hate on MySpace, Tyler Hate on. But yeah,
MySpace.
Tyler Hate on
friends,
Twitter, Game Collecting
Big
Reaper on
MySpace.
Instagram. Oh yeah, big MySpace guy.
Yeah. Well, fun episode, fellas. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for watching. And we will see you all in 2 weeks. Take care.
Adios.